welcome to Woman Power. I'm your host, Lorna Grayling, and today in studio we have one phenomenal woman, Janet Potgieter. She's one of the most beautiful women in the world. She is an international award-winning model. She's the CEO of the JannyDjan Modeling and Acting Academy in South Africa. She won the Mrs. Africa Award in 2014. She competed in Belarus in 2015 and won the Integrity Award at Mrs. Universe. And she was competing in Las Vegas, where she came first runner-up at the Mrs. Globe Classic competition. She's a mother of two and a wife of 26 years now. Janet, am I right?
Yes.
My goodness, congratulations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you, Lorna.
Janet, we're going to talk today a little bit about the power of modeling. So tell us about your modeling journey, because about 16 years ago, your whole life literally fell apart. You had nothing left. You were getting food from the church in food parcels.
Yes.
And now you are this phenomenal international award-winning model. You are the CEO of, I think, the biggest modeling academy in Potchefstroom at the moment.
Yes.
How did you get from here to here?
Okay, I think it's perseverance and by the grace of God. And, when you start life and you finish with school and then you think you're going to study, you're going to get a job, you're going to get married, and it's going to be bubbles and butterflies and all of that. But life doesn't work that way. And when that happened to us, losing everything, but we didn't lose our marriage. So that is the one thing I'm very grateful for. Well, I told them when we got married, I love you so much, I will sleep under a tree with you. So ladies, be careful what you wish for.
Was that something you said the day you got married? Like, I love you so much, I'll sleep with you under a tree. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So,
very strong love, right?
And I think our sense of humor also pulled us through. Like this morning, he works away. So this morning he phoned me. He wanted to find out something, and he sort of coughed and ouched in one sentence, and then I love you. And I said to him, okay, the coughing, the ouching, and it doesn't work in one sentence. And then he said, it's not painful to love you, but it is hard work, So, I think our sense of humor also pulled us through. But when something like that happened to you, you must always remember maybe that season you were in is not that successful, a little bit of a failure. You made mistakes, you made, wrong decisions, but you are not a failure. It is just that moment. And it's like falling down a cliff. You were up there and then something happened and you just tumbled down. And when you hit the floor, if you're still alive, then be grateful. And that's a second chance that God gave you. And maybe He wants you to get off your high horse, or He wants you to learn something. And, in my case, He knew that I was going to work with underprivileged people, if I can put it like that, in a war country. And although I will never know how it feels to lose absolutely everything, like what's currently happening in Ukraine, but what I saw also in the Congo, and how they just persevere there. But yes, I know the humiliation. I know the feeling of looking other people in their eyes because you need a roof over your head. Sometimes the look in my husband's eye, because you must remember it's a guy and he needs to provide for his family. And my children, then I leave them where we stayed because I couldn't take them to the shop because they want a sweetie and I cannot afford that. And sometimes I had to send my children away to my parents because we just didn't have food. And, it does something to you. Yeah. And I mean, I got pregnant with Marinette, my daughter, and I was sitting in a government clinic. And I was looking around and I look at these women and I knew it was temporary because I know myself. But for the majority of people, when you end up or you're born in that circumstances, you don't have the chance to get out of that. And I think like us, God had to show me how it is. And yes, to get back up, it's like climbing out that cliff, hey? It's rough. It takes forever, and you get tired and you get, why am I doing this? And, you just need to carry on. That's all. I mean, you've got one life, and God gave you one life. And I think to say thank you to Him for the life you've got is to do your best every day.
Powerful. Absolutely. Just to do your best every day. I heard that a while ago also, where someone was just saying is just to take what you have right now and to do the best with that. I mean, there's nothing more we can do, and then to have peace about that. And that is exactly what you did, because I mean, you guys were down and out. Life was literally tumbling down on you, and in the midst of that, you started modeling and you entered Mrs. South Africa at the time, won Mrs. Africa, and then competed globally all around the world while you were doing incredible humanitarian work. I have to just mention that. I mean, you won the CEO Pan Global Award for your humanitarian work that you did in Africa as well. Where on earth did you find the strength and the courage to keep going when obviously at the time you couldn't have felt like doing it, right? You just didn't.
No, but you know what? You know what? It's I always say I think I'm one of God's wildest children, and I don't want to see what my angels look like at the end of the day. I've got spirit in me. I love people. I love life. Doesn't matter what challenges you face. I mean, you've got a choice. You can either sit and go in the corner. Yeah, and we all do. I still do. But you can go and sit in the corner, feel sorry for yourself, blame the world. I mean, and then what? Or you can get up, get up, as they say, get up, dress up, and show up, and just don't stay down. It's maybe easy for me to say that, and I know there's a lot of people who got a lot of challenges and so on. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why your past happened in the past. Leave it there.
Wow.
Even if you have to go for therapy or anything, but as long as you're gonna, and you need to forgive yourself, hey? But as long as you're gonna cling onto the past and go over and over and over it, you're not gonna move forward. But at the end of the day, you need to forgive yourself, and no one else is going to do that for you. You need to get up, and you need to keep going, and you need to decide what you want out of life. And we tend to say no when an opportunity comes along. I mean, if I look back, and I'm going to write my book one day, if I look back at my journey, the moment I started to say yes, and I got out of the water, kept my eyes, and still keeping my eyes firmly on Jesus, otherwise I will sink, miracles will happen. You will then start to live the life God meant for you to live. And He just wants the best for you. But you need to do that. You need to keep up from your, from your bum. Is that the word? You must remember I'm Afrikaans, and sometimes our English run out. But I mean, get off your, may I say that? Get off your bum, okay? And you need to put in the energy. And you need to select which opportunities to take and which not. And don't say no to opportunity just because you're scared. Okay, if you say no because it's a risk, I do understand. And then if there's no opportunities, create them. God gave you a powerful brain.
Because that's actually what you did. I mean, you're the CEO of this incredible modeling and acting company, but you live in a small town in South Africa, and it wasn't something that really fitted in a small town. There was no modeling events happening. There's not really any work for your models in such a small town, but you are literally creating jobs for them. You are finding them things to do, which absolutely is fantastic. And your models is performing globally on a very, very high standard at the moment. Tell us a little bit about your models and what keeps you going with what you are doing. I mean, I'm sure you must get exhausted. I don't know where you find time to breathe. What is your why?
Yes,
why do you work so hard?
Remember, I'm on the wrong or the right side of 50, depending. The only reason why I look as amazing is Stefan Venter is always doing my makeup, and he was actually the first person I approached when the opportunity came along. Years ago, I did have a modeling school in Gauteng, and my friend that I had it with actually also staying in America at the moment. And I realized when the opportunity came again that I need to do something different. And I wrote, and I'm still developing it, the entire syllabus. We start with finishing, where we teach them life skills and, like public speaking and just simple things like greet people, small talk, how you walk into a room, So, I mean, because let's be honest, not all of them is going to be, on a global stage or earning money from a modeling career. But I decided if I'm going to do this, and that was the vow I gave when I stood in Bolengo displacement camp in the DRC. I was looking at all these people around me. And as I said before, not all of us do have the privileged circumstances. And there's brilliant people. I mean, the Congolese people are most amazing. Their resilience is something out of this world. And I made a vow that I will do everything in my power to give life skills or any assistance just to help someone, to just get a better life. And there's no bigger joy for me than when they come back and they call me Miss J, because Auntie is just not doing it for me. When they tell me, Miss J, I got the bursary because of your pageant training on how to walk in and sit down and interview, and or I got more job offers, or I started my own business because you inspired me, because you spoke about social media and marketing and how to pursue your dreams and your personal branding. And because I share my story with them during the whole course, that they can see, it's ups and downs. You need to make plans. You need to, and I think a lot of us think, you have to get expertise in to help you, especially in the beginning. You don't have to. There's YouTube, go and figure it out. I mean, that is what I did, and I can do quite a lot. I mean, we stay in South Africa with blackouts. That's, So I even managed to start the generator, and for me, it's a big thing. Yes, I do smell like a mechanic after that.
But, you look beautiful, though. You might smell like a mechanic, but you look stunning. Janet, this is actually so profound, just mentioning that. I mean, because, we sometimes look at someone from the outside. I mean, you look absolutely phenomenal. As you're sitting there right now, I can see why you are an international model. But like you were saying now, just the behind the scenes of doing what you're doing and of accomplishing what you are accomplishing. I mean, people who don't know, South Africa has power cuts where there's literally no power for hours on end during the day, numerous times during the day. And that is a huge challenge to every single day not have power. But despite that, you've gone and, like you say, learned how to switch on the generator, and you just make a plan, and you just kind of, all right, we do have this crisis, but let's see what can I do and still continue. And I think that is so profound. Is that something that you teach your models as well, that perseverance of,
yes,
things might not,
absolutely,
may not get the part, or you may not get the modeling job, but keep going. So how do you help them get through that? Because that's very tough in modeling.
Do you feel hopeless or frustrated? Don't ignore your mental health. There is hope, and you are not alone. ADD expert, healthy coping skills, effective communication to live your best life. A New Hope with Dr. Saffron.
were times that we really thought he was dead, because he would be screaming and you would hear all this torture, and then they would shoot.
I said to Lorna, you couldn't feel Jesus. It felt like he left you. You're sort of on your own.
You know what? I think to share my story with them, that they can see. And I see myself as just a girl from a small town, with big dreams. And if you put your mind to it, and for me to trust in God, it's achievable. But you need to put in the work. I always say, you must do the possible and leave the impossible to God. And that is what you need to do. And you've also asked me what inspires me is even now in South Africa. I mean, I thought I was going to work in the Congo, and then my partner there passed away last year. So for now it's a little bit on hold, but now God wants me here. And what inspires me is when I look at the models, when they walk in, their first photos, like Sharon, up to the latest photo shoot where she absolutely deserves to be on the cover of a magazine. I mean, Sharon's her dad raises her, and all of these models, like Danae as well, she's our plus size model. All of these models, they've got stories. Hey, they've got, some of them got really burdens that they drag with them, and I've got a degree in psychology as well, which help a lot. And so we see how we can help them, but the biggest focus is on confidence, and to tell them and just show them and be an example to them. If there's a tough patch in the road, how you get through it, and the sun will shine again. And if they do not have a support system, we in any case there for everyone, but especially for those, we always a shoulder. Sometimes I just listen, sometimes I try to give advice. And, it's a journey you walk with each and every one of them. And, you get to know them. One of my male models, he just disappeared at the beginning of the year, and he wasn't like that. Started looking for him, and he was attacked on the streets, and then we, luckily I got hold of him. He missed a big casting because of his injuries. But we walked the journey with him. And then I know when it rains, I have to get towels out, because some of them is, taking the taxi and then walking to the studio. Just be compassionate, because they are living in a different world that I grew up and, my age group. And, and I think they need all the love and the assistance that we can give them.
Janet, what you were saying is so profound. It's just to see your models from where they are and where they start, and then just to kind of witness their journey, and like you say, then see them on the cover of these incredible magazines. I know your daughter is one of the models that I can honestly say that I've seen develop through your program, and where she started, and just the how she was carrying herself and how she was operating in everything that she did, and what she looks like now is I can literally not believe my eyes.
The dad's and the brother's worst nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a lot to say, but just the development that happens in a child when they got confronted, with self-confidence, is amazing. I find that so profound.
You know what, with Marinette, she was bullied at school. She never knew about my previous life in the modeling industry, because she must find it herself. I didn't want to be one of those mums, that's pushing her. And when I entered Mrs. South Africa, that was her first encounter. And then I started taking out the photos and so on. And because of what I've achieved, sadly, you know how people are. I stuff at the top, but with the view. And she was bullied, so much so I had to put her in another school, which worked phenomenally. But in the process, from a Northwest cross-country athlete to a overweight couch potato, that's what it happened to her. And the moment I moved her to a better environment, she started to excel again, academics. She started taking up sports. And yeah, okay, she's feisty. Sometimes I want to just, she's a teenager. And then my husband just laughs and he said, you're raising yourself. So I am super proud of her today. It's all about confidence. She also helps me a lot in the academy, especially with bullying, because you get that quite a lot, and to help them at their age. I mean, I'm almost a grandma to them. So, what do we know? But for her, that's one of their peers, to tell them, listen, this is what I look like, and this is what happened, and this is how I handled it, because those people will never disappear. They will always be there. And the more successful you're going to be, the more of them they're going to be. You need to learn how to handle it and how to ignore it, and focus on your dreams. And so she helps a lot with that, because been there, done that. And yeah, the outcome is, I'm very proud of her. I'm really very proud of her. Like all my models. I mean, if I start to talk about them and their stories, I'll keep you here for days. But that is my biggest joy, is to see them, develop, and yeah, just going from strength to strength in their lives and in their dreams.
That was so profound what you were saying about, when you reach the top, you do lose a lot of friends. There's a lot of jealousy in modeling. There's a lot of conniving and a lot of ugliness, that we don't always see behind the scenes. We know about it. It's kind of talked about, the modeling industry. But I love what you're saying, is that through the bullying and through the ugliness, is that you teach your models how to handle it. Because that's so true. I mean, life is just like that. It's never going to stop wherever you are in life. And the higher you climb, like you say, it's tough at the top. But enjoy the view. I love that. At the end of the day, you're going to reach the top regardless, if you keep on going. That is super profound. I love that. Janet, just a little bit to touch on the incredible work that you did in Africa. I know you made such a difference with your life, and I know that's why you actually went into modeling, is to have this platform to do more humanitarian work. But tell me just in a nutshell the work that you did in Africa, in the Congo. What did you do, and how did this impact your life?
Well, it changed my life forever. It will never be the same. That's why I think the one thing the Congo Andres taught me was, you can be successful in challenging times and chaos. And I think that is, I built my modeling academy through COVID. I mean, I started in 2019. I'm now 3 years old, and but you need to make plans. You need to hustle, and that's, I think, the one thing that the Congolese people taught me, because there's over 90% unemployment rate in the area that I worked in. And it sounds, wow, but there's an informal economy that those people just hustling, just to keep food on the table. And it was so inspirational to me. And although Dries passed away, his widow and myself is still in contact. I don't know if it is in God's plan, I will go back there. I just fell in love with the people and everything, that despite their circumstances, because it's a war-torn country, they just if I start to speak about the Congo, it's like so much mixed emotions and so on. But yes, the day I met Elizabeth, she had an endemic goiter bigger than her head. I was horrified, with this privileged South African, ending up there. And then we did surgery on her, and together with the previous pageant system I was involved with, we raised funding and do surgeries and so on. And our plans was to get a big airplane and a medical team to go into the jungle, because that's very big problems there on endemic goiter as well. But you know what? I always say you cannot change the world, but you can change someone's world one at a time. And like one of the orphanages that we support there, I always took through vegetable seeds and medicine, and I really built a bond with them there. And then Teresa's widow, she said to me, we can make a plan in December that, because to get stuff in and out of the Congo is quite a challenge, but we can make a plan. So I'm going to get, again, vegetable seeds. And, it's for us, vegetable seeds, nothing. There you can't get it. But the soil is so fertile, and that she can go and, take it through to them. And so that's all my own involvement at the moment in the Congo. But it changed my life. I mean, the circumstances, the stories, the people, some of it is so surreal. I think that's why we coped, me and my family, with everything we went through. We coped very well during COVID. And also now with the blackouts. I mean, it's the same in the Congo. They, it's like, I don't know if it's an African thing, but you just get going despite whatever life throws at you. Also, I think so many of us are trapped in a life we don't like. I always say, you're not a tree, move. I know it's not that easy, okay, but I think I love what I do. I love people. I love my models, my collaborations. I think that's the other thing of creating opportunities here. When I started, I decided I need to create a market, and that's what I did. And you need to collaborate to be successful at the end of the day, because whatever you achieve, if I look back at my whole life, nothing that I achieved was on my own. There was always someone or people or around me helping me, supporting me, and of course, God directing me and pushing me sometimes. And I think, like, why am I here? Like when I walked into Bulenga displacement camp, I was the Mzungu, which is a white person, couldn't speak their language. Yes, I had my braids because I love my braids. And when I walked in there, and it was just these thousands of people in a refugee camp, I said to God, very hysterically and very silently, but very urgently, now you need to help me, because I don't know why I'm here and what am I supposed to do? And the only message I got is, give them their dignity back and just give them attention, and that's what I also teach my models. When you're a pageant queen, you've got a huge responsibility, and it's not what you do, it's how you do it. I mean, we see millions of photos where they give charity items away and they smile in crowns and sashes. And then I always think the less privileged person next to you, how did you make them feel? Sure. Did you make them feel worthless? I was there, I know. Did you make them feel humiliated? I was there. I received in my life a church food parcel, more than one. Or did you encourage them? Oh. Did you give them hope? Did you, and I walked in between those women, and I love people. I just started to give hugs. And you don't know how powerful a hug is. And, for them, it was like this important person, I struggled to take my sash and my crown there, but I did, because I realized this is to honor them. And if you meet your favorite celebrity and that person gives you attention, it's going to make you here. You'll never forget that. And I realized there, when you have a sash and a crown, that is a huge responsibility, because you become that person of hope to someone else. You become that person that other person thinks, I'm worthy. My message is, if you can just put a smile on someone's face every day, you've accomplished something great.
Janet, you've been so amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on this show today. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep changing lives. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Lorna. And thank you so much for the honor to be on your program. And God bless you abundantly for everything that you do for everyone.
Well, that's it from me, Lorna Grayling and Woman Power. Until next week, goodbye.